Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
Hello you lot, how's it going? Hope you've all had a lovely week since I last spoke to you. I'm in a fantastic mood. I got a new hat and it's really cool. I might even do a little video because I have started a TikTok. Oh my God. Even saying that out loud makes me feel old. I can't really get to grips with TikTok. Like I don't know. I think I'm just still part of the Vine generation. I can't really understand how it works. A lot of people are dancing. I was talking to my friend about it, who's a lot more down with the youth than I am. And she was saying that, you just do this dance and just do that dance. And I was like, okay, cool. How do I do it without fucking dancing? She was like, go over yourself and try again. I was like, all right, fair enough. She didn't really say that. She's lovely. But yeah, I'm trying to, what I should say really is that I was trying to work out what everyone was doing so that I could do it the right way. And then I remembered that that's kind of everything that I teach against. It's so funny how difficult it is to take your own advice sometimes. But yeah, I was like, oh, well, I could just do what I've done with this podcast and do it my own way. So I'm authentic and it feels more natural to me. So yeah, pretty much my only TikTok I've got so far is just me wandering down the road with my backpack on the way to meet my dad to go for a pint. So yeah, more of that to come, probably. I don't know. I'm just going to wing it, guys. I wing this podcast. I'm going to wing TikTok. Just going to wing it all. Just pissing in the wind right now, but it seems to be going quite well. So carry on. Before I get into this week's episode, I want your help, really. Not so much a help, I want your input, because they're not just a pretty logo program. It's done, it's out there in the world, it's an evergreen thing and it just kind of runs. Obviously, we are a branding and creative agency, so we have clients, we do branding projects, we have creative retainers, all that kind of thing. But in doing this podcast, what I've realised is I really fucking love this bit. I really love the teaching. I really love helping you guys out because I have had so many of you send me lovely, lovely messages to say that the sweary ramblings are actually really helping you to build your business, whether it's the brand, whether it's your mindset, whether it's just the practical little nuggets that I'm putting out. It seems to be helping you. And this is really good news. I didn't really know where this podcast was going to go. I'll be honest. Yeah, I wasn't really sure where this was going to end up, but seeing as it's going down a bloody storm, I'm just a bit like, why stop there, right? So I've been thinking of different things that I can do for you. And I made a list and started weighing up the pros and cons, deciding what I was most drawn to. And then I remembered, Alex, this isn't fucking about you. This is about the lovely people that listen to this podcast. So I want to hear from you. I want to know what you need from me to take your business to the next level. Is there something in particular that you want to know about? Like, should I be running some kind of masterclass where you can actually talk to me and let me help you through things? Do I write a fucking book? Like, oh, that sounds like a lot. But if you guys want it, I'll do it. Just what do you want from me? Genuine question. I would really, really like to take Build Your Maverick Business to the next level. And I want to know what you guys would like. What would help you get your business to the next level? Let's all grow together, shall we? All right. Thank you. Park that one for now. I will once again put the email address and my personal Instagram account. I might even put my TikTok as well in the show notes for this week. So if you do want to get in contact with me, just please do. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, that's done for now. Park that one. So this episode is a little bit of a celebration for me. The reason being, this is episode number 10. I have done this consistently for 10 weeks. That is mad. And I know you might be thinking 10 episodes isn't a lot. For me, that's wild. Let me explain why that is such a huge deal for me. I am a fundamentally fucking impatient person. Full disclosure, I am impatient. I want everything to happen immediately. And my working style is to go 100 miles an hour and then flop down and move on to something else. Especially if that thing doesn't immediately get me results, right? I describe my brain a bit like a pinball machine. So like you fire off this little ball and it just goes bing bong, bing bong, bing bing, bing bing, bing bing, a million miles per second, bounces around. I have a shit ton of ideas and then the little ball drops and disappears and that's it. I'm spent. Now, this tends to happen in the first maybe 2-3 hours of the day. By lunchtime, shattered. Yeah, my brain works very quickly. Now, I talk a lot about the perils of starting a business. And so what I've learned along the way is that shit is useful some of the time. When you're building products, like, you know, when I was coming up with the idea for this podcast, when I record the podcast episodes, you know, I have a million ideas per second and they seem to formulate into something that actually makes logical sense some of the time. Whee! So sometimes it is really helpful to have a brain that works like that, you know. When you've got a client deadline, it's great to be able to come up with a load of ideas so that you have lots of things to present to them. So in lots of ways, this is a very helpful thing that my brain works like this. The problem is, when it comes to getting your brand name out there, going hell for leather and then stopping is shit. Doesn't work. The reason being that the number one golden nugget your business needs is consistency. Consistency is just so important. And I think that it embarrassingly took me a really long time to work that out. I was just like, why am I throwing so much shit at the wall and nothing sticking? When really, there was just no consistency. Now, I'm not talking about hustling for 5 hours a day after you finish working your 9 to 5, or when your kids have gone to bed, staying up and, you know, putting in hours and hours and hours of work. It's not showing up in every Facebook group, running every ad, pumping out content like it's going out of fashion, and just, you know, burning yourself out doing all of the things. What I mean by consistency is small, consistent action. A little thing every day that gets you one step closer to your goal. Now, I don't believe in bullshit clickbait like the one-size-fits-all solution for your business. Just pay me £10,000 and I will, you know, all this wank that you get advertised to you these days. I'm very much sharing from my own experience that this is the one thing I was missing for so long. I had great products. I provided a great service. My clients are very happy, but I was not getting my name out there because I was going a million miles an hour and then stopping. Now, if you're anything like me, you will also struggle with consistency because sometimes you're not getting the results, right? Sometimes you have worked so hard on something and you've been doing it for so long and it's just not happening and you just think, oh, this is so hard. Or, you know, you do stuff and then you get bored and you want to move on to the next thing. And I mean, if that is the case, go back and listen to my episode, Are You Starting the Right Business? Because it might just be that there's something that your energy would be better spent on. I mean, that's a whole other subject. So if you struggle with consistency, like I did, I want to help you with 3 things that I found really, really, really useful and have gotten me to this point where I've actually done 10 whole episodes. So first up, number 1. When it comes to consistency in your marketing, are you using the method that feels the most natural to you? As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, I had looked around at other people, at what others were doing when it came to TikTok, and I was like, this is really, really hard, and I struggled through it, and I recorded a few videos that just felt so unnatural to me. When I just went back and did it my own way, it felt a lot easier. Now I feel like I can go back and do that again. Now, Strange have tried a lot of kinds of marketing. We have a nice healthy email list, sexy looking Instagram, if I do say so myself. I post a lot on LinkedIn, so on and so forth. You know, we've blogged, we've done it all. But it's been historically very patchy. I'd go hard on one channel. I would try out a load of content pillars. You can't see me doing my air quotes. Then I'd give up thinking that wasn't the right outlet. I hadn't found the right outlet yet, or maybe I was just doing it wrong. What is fucking magnificent about this podcast is that it's so much fun. It comes really naturally to me because I can talk for England. And it comes naturally to me in a way that a lot of other things don't. This is the path of least resistance for me. And as a result, because I bring such a happy, Alex Pitt is in her fucking zone energy, that is infectious. And other people have told me how much they love this podcast. The audience has grown very quickly, organically. I haven't done any kind of promotion for this. This is just word of mouth. And that's really, really fucking cool to be able to say. Like, that's an achievement. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, bin everything off. It's really good to have a social media presence. But if you don't have so many hours in the day, if you're still working a 9 to 5 or you've got kids to look after or other things to be doing, then that small, consistent action is so much better spent on one channel. The one thing that makes you feel like, yes, I can't wait to do that. That's nice and easy for me. Don't make anything harder on yourself than it has to be. So that's that. Number 2, are you going too hard too soon? Now, depending on how exposed you are to the diet industry, you may have come across those insane, lose twice your own body weight in 6 days by cutting out any food that casts a shadow kind of diets. Red carpet crash diets. And what do all of the experts say? That doesn't work. And even if it does, you'll probably pass out or get scurvy, because the real way to get to a healthy weight is through small, consistent action every day. Where have you heard that before? So if you're looking at your marketing plan and trying to create 5 posts a week, 2 blog posts and a whole YouTube channel in a month, then you get overwhelmed and you don't do any of it, you might need to rein it in a little bit. Start with the absolute minimum you think you can actually achieve and build it from there. 1 Instagram post a week, 1 short blog a month. Do it until it's a habit, until it feels natural. Then you can build it. Don't go too hard too soon. And then the third one, which will come as no surprise to any of you, unless it's the first time you've listened to this podcast, in which case please go back to the beginning. They're only short, they're mercifully short. Now this is a big one for me. Are you being authentic? I used to force myself to create blog posts when I was a freelancer, and they were always based on what I saw everyone else doing. I took a snapshot of LinkedIn and then did something sort of similar that I thought would make people want to get me to design stuff. Like if I just put enough blog posts out about 5 things you should know about logos or something like that everyone would be like, oh yeah, great, she's the one for us. So boring, not creating any kind of connection with anyone. As I mentioned in previous episodes, it was all very generic and hollow because I wasn't being the real me. This podcast is the real me, the real unapologetic, unpolished version of me. And I have already ruffled a few feathers with this, right? I've had complaints. The good news is, those ruffled feathers belong to the very people I have absolutely no interest in working with. And instead, I've attracted a fan base of my ideal audience. Now, there's something very exciting coming up, which I cannot wait to talk to you about. Something which happened to me, which is probably hands down the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Can't really tell you yet, and I know that's really annoying, but I will do. I will tell you all about it. But that thing is something wonderful that has happened as a direct result of me attracting exactly the right people to my business just by being the most authentic version of myself. And all I do is sit at my desk for half an hour a week, ramble away into this microphone, and then put it out into the world. And that has manifested these incredible results. Now, a year ago, I'd be too scared to do that. I'd think, who the hell wants to listen to what I have to say? Like, who am I? But being a bit brave, being a bit consistent and putting it out there, bloody magic is happening, guys. Bloody magic. There is so much to be said for just finding the minimum baseline of what it is you need to do to get to your goal. Imagine it like you're running a marathon. You don't just go out and expect to run a marathon. You run for 5 minutes and then you run for 6 minutes until you get to that point. But taking those tiny little steps is so crucial. Now, my final little nugget of wisdom before I leave you this week, my loves. Stop looking at where everyone else is and stop comparing yourself to them, thinking you're not doing enough because you're only doing that 1 Instagram post a week or you're only doing that 1 blog post a month. All right? If you can say that you've taken 1 teeny tiny step every day to get you closer to your goal, then in a year, you're 365 steps closer. Think about it like that. Small, authentic, consistent action. All right, my dears, drop me an email, drop me a message. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you back here next week.
Got an idea for a maverick business of your own? Learn how to build a powerful brand that will get people obsessed with our online program, not just a pretty logo. You'll learn a simple step-by-step framework that will kickstart your killer brand and help you find your raving fan base. Find out more today at strangecreativestudio.com.